This is a picture of the engine as it was completed. Static, of course. You can see the glass cylinder and the perspex flywheel with the cranks and the displacer in the bottom there, which is a sort of sealing tile in the bottom sealed container. This is the other side. You can see the displacer crank, which is a fixed throw, whereas the piston has an adjustable throw to get the best performance. The little hole that you can see in the disc is to balance the flywheel. Here's the book of instructions. As you can see, it's Build Your Own Low Temperature Hot Air Engine by Martin Gregory. He is a member of the Stirling Society, who makes some amazing different types of hot air engines. This one is a low temperature because it doesn't need much heat. This is Martin's details. A smashing guy who I met at the Midlands Model Engineering exhibition. And this is the second page showing one of his completed engines. This one's got a stainless steel cylinder rather than a glass cylinder like the one I've built. This is a picture on the back of the instruction book, and it shows in particular the displacer, which is made from the polystyrene sealing tile material, and you can see the 4 holes which have been punched in it, and then they're filled with a type of flossy foam which acts as a regenerator, improving the performance of the engine. Now we'll try and make the engine work. It shouldn't be a problem. We'll move into the kitchen and prepare some hot water to put into a jug so that you can see it operating. Right, the first thing to do is to take the kettle and fill it with some water. I'm having to work with my left hand while I operate the camera with the right. Whoops, missed it. Put the kettle back on its base and switch it on. Now we don't need boiling water for this. All we need is water up to about somewhere around 40-50 degrees. That's all it needs. This is the jug that we're going to put the water in, and it'll only be about a third full, and then the engine will be put on top to warm up. Right, I think that's quite warm enough. It's not boiling by any means. There we go. Now put some of that in there, and if it's a bit too hot, which I think it is, we'll add a bit of cold in a moment. There we are. Right, we'll just put a little drop of cold in there too. That'll do. Right, here we are back out into the daylight. The warm water is in the jug. Put the engine onto the jug, says he, trying to do it without it falling off. And now we've got to wait for the engine to warm up, the heat from the water to get up into the aluminium bottom plate to give the temperature difference between the bottom and the top, which will be the means of driving the engine. Right, it's been there about a minute, so let's see whether she will go now. That bottom plate should be getting warmer. We give it a little spin. See what happens. I think she's there already. Yep, she's accelerating. Now you can see the displacer, which is moving the warm air round the edges of it because it doesn't fit the Perspex displacer cylinder. The air moves from the bottom to the top, and in doing so, having expanded in the bottom, it then contracts in the top, and with the phasing of the two cranks, the power piston is picking up the increase in pressure at one point and the decrease in pressure on the other side, and driving the displacer up and down, and it will just keep on going and going and going. We'll just have a look from the other side. You can see it's accelerating, it's getting pretty fast. And as I say, that water is far from boiling. It, in fact, I'm just going to put my hand on the bottom there. I haven't got my thermometer with me, my infrared thermometer, but I would say that water's at about, 40 degrees. Of course, one last look at it running. Of course, the secret to the whole thing is that the piston is an absolutely perfect fit in the glass cylinder. It mustn't bind, it mustn't be loose, it must be able to drop down when you release the seal, when you release the seal at the bottom, all on its own, but stay there if you seal the bottom of the glass cylinder. And the piston rod for the displacer, that has to be a good reamed fit to ensure that there's virtually no leak there. Any leaks at all, of course, would just stop it working because it's got so little power. There's no power really at all. And there we are, running in the hand. A very interesting and satisfying little engine to produce. I've taken it off the hot water. Obviously the temperature difference is still there. The bottom plate is warm to my fingers, the top plate is quite cool. And that'll keep going like that until the differential just gets down to about less than about 10 degrees C, and then it'll slowly give up. It's been sitting on the tablecloth now for about 2 or 3 minutes, picking up no heat at all, and you see it is now beginning to slow down. I should imagine she's getting near the 10 degrees temperature difference, and the clicking you can hear, it just started raining. Well, that's the end of the demonstration.